How about now? We have sound now? You guys hear me now? How about now? We have sound. Ha, we got it. You guys hear me now? Sorry about that, guys. How am I going to do this? So basically, I was just saying with SPY, man, that sucks that we missed out that first part. Oh well. On SPY, we've got this 2 down, finish red, but it is a shooter candle. So when we're talking about shooter candles, we have this body here, and the wick needs to be at least 2 times the size of the body. And I think we have that there, or we're pretty close. And a shooter candle is a bearish pattern, okay? So we've got time frame continuity on our side outside of the quarterly and the yearly. So this is a good setup to follow SPY to the downside. Now, I would tell you guys this. I'll tell you guys that if the day trades don't work for you, then go down to the 15s or go down to the 30s or go down to the hours, and you can still mark your triggers and targets on those higher time frames when you find the setups. But I would still like you to go manage those setups on a smaller time frame, especially if you're trading options, because you might not get the most out of the trade by doing that, but you're definitely going to protect your risk and protect your capital on it based off of that strategy. So the best traders really are the ones who manage their risk the best. So if you can do that, if you can set your triggers and targets on a higher time frame and manage that trade on a smaller time frame, that's going to really help you with that risk assessment. So we'll move on to DIA. DIA, I'm going to take off the list. This, realistically, you've got full time frame continuity. A lot of people don't like to play 2-2 continuations. You could do it here. You can set your target there, or you can put it to here. We do have full time frame continuity right across the board on DIA. It's all red. So I'm not opposed to trading 2-2 continuations. A lot of people are. I'll never say no to it. I don't do it very often. I like to look for those pullbacks. So those pullbacks that I'm talking about is what we talked about on yesterday's video, where we had this 2 up that finished red, and we were looking for that 2 down in order to fulfill this trade with full time frame continuity to the downside. Those are the setups I look for, and those are the setups I look for when I trade off of the 15. My bread and butter is the 15 and the 5, so 15 triggers targets, 5-minute manage. That's what I look for. I look for those little pullbacks, and then I get back into the trade. Okay, so that's DIA. Let's go to Microsoft. Microsoft, I don't know if I like this one being on the list. It is a 2 down green. We have really good time frame continuity, but we're looking at a shooter candle here. And the fact that it's green makes it a little less probable that it is going to continue to trend down. I'm not sure I would look at Microsoft too closely tomorrow. Black BD just asked, he said 15 triggers at what time of the day? Well, doesn't matter. 7:30. I guess my time in the market opens 7:30. So are you looking at 7:30? Are you looking at an hour into the market, an hour and a half, 2 hours, 3 hours? I wouldn't do it an hour before the market ends. You could, but I wouldn't. Well, Black BD just said still not triggering at daily. If you set your triggers and targets on the daily chart, then trade off of this, but manage it on a smaller time frame. Okay? And it doesn't have to be the 5, it could be the hourly, or it could be the 30-minute. I'm just saying I like the 5 because it reduces my risk the most. What I am saying is you can play these, not these that I'm going over now, but when you go to the 15, look for these same type of setups. Look for the reversals. Look for the inside bars on the 15. Set your triggers and targets on the 15, and then manage it off of the 5. Still using the triggers and targets off of the 15, but you're managing it off the 5. Go watch my review videos, guys. I run through it exactly the same way every time. If these setups don't work on the daily, yes, I am playing off of the 15. That is my bread and butter. Triggers and targets on the 15, manage on the 5. Okay, so inside bar on Walmart. Let's discuss this a little bit, because inside bars, I always tell people, if you're struggling, you said okay with 3 dots, does that not make sense? People who are, okay, good stuff. People who are struggling with trading or new to trading, I always tell them to concentrate on the inside bars. So when you have this Griswold Strat indicator, it paints the bars yellow for you, the inside bars, the 1 bars. Gives you these candlestick numbers. It gives you the time frame continuity, which is really important. You guys should watch the video that I have on that. It paints the outside bars white. Okay, it gives you these gold highlights for the 3-1 setups. But when we have these inside bars, this type of setup right here, guys, this break from here all the way down, that's the big breaks that we look for off of these inside bars. Now, this is a 3-1 setup, but you're still going off of the inside bar. So an inside bar does not break the high or the low of the previous candle. It stays within this range. Okay, it's a tightening range. It's a squeezing range. It's almost like an inverse broadening formation. And I like to show you guys this, because this gives you an idea. Whoops. This gives you an idea of exactly what we're looking at here. So inverse broadening formation. You see how this, and people call this a flag, but you see how it's tightening here. It's getting, the gap in between these two lines is getting smaller, and eventually it's got to break out of there. That's what happened here. Eventually it's got to break out of that inside bar, and it does in a big way. So that's what we look for off of those inside bars. Does it always happen? No. But probability over past trades and past inside bars tell us that that's what's probable. And every trade, every strategy we look at, guys, is based off of probability. It doesn't matter what the strategy is, and if people tell you they know what's going to happen on the next candle, they don't. Because it is based off of probability. Everything is. Because no one knows what the next candlestick is going to be. So, yes, we base our trades off of probability. When it goes in the opposite direction, how are you managing that trade? That's what makes good traders good, okay? So inside bar, we can look for calls at 142.65, puts at 140.95. The targets are marked out for you. We're looking for a big break on Walmart. We move on to Citibank, 2 down green. We talked about those directional candles. We can look for calls at 50.86, put first targets at 51.19. Disney, we're going to take off of here because there is no setup. We're going to go to Macy's. Macy's inside bar. So we talked about these already. You notice here, so I always say go to the low of the preceding wick. Well, this one's exactly identical as the trigger. So we're just going to move it down like so, and then we can put our next target right up here. It's going to be yellow, but I will change that to green for you guys. So target to the upside, $21. So calls at 20.80. Here's the thing. Could this trend to the upside? Yes. Is the better trade to the downside? It most definitely is. We've got full time frame continuity. This is really what we love to see, is this full time frame. And then, is this a shooter candle? It's pretty close. You'd like to see this body a little bit closer to the bottom of this wick, but it is essentially a shooter candle. So we can look for puts at 20.34 and have first targets at 20.22 on Macy's. We go to BAC, also with that inside bar. We can put a target to the downside. And again, we have really good time frame continuity. Outside of the quarterly and the yearly, it sets up nicely for us. So we can look for calls here at 34.49, puts at 34.18. Black BD, yeah, to some, you don't have to look at these day setups. You can just, I like trading SPY. I will sit on the SPY 15-minute, not all day, but that's where I look for my main setups. That's where I like to take my trades. I like SPY. I like the 15. So, sure, if you want to base your day to start off of these day trades, because really, and the reason I do these day setups is because the majority of the movement in a day, or oftentimes, you get those really, really big moves in the first portion of the day. We really break those triggers and we hit targets, and it really moves There's a lot of volatility right in the morning. And so that's really what my bread and butter used to be, but schedules with kids has changed that, and I've had to adapt. But those are where the really big moves are off the start in the opening. And then, again, if they don't work or you can't trade off of these day trades, you can hop down to a 30 or a 15 like I mentioned before. Okay, so BAC, that's the inside bar we looked at. Calls at 34.49, puts at 34.18. We move on to Datadog. That's a 2-down red. We're going to take that off of there. If it was a green, we would leave it on. IWM, inside bar on IWM. We'll call that a hammer or a shooter candle, I guess. So calls at 190.92. Let's put in the first target there. Puts at 188.07. First target at 187.6. So that's probably the trade I would take. If we go 2 down on the day, then the time frame continuity for the majority is in our favor. And guys, all time frame continuity is telling us is that on the current hour candle, there are sellers. On the day overall, they were green, but if you look at the candle, not by much. On the week, there's sellers. On the month, there's sellers. On the quarterly and yearly, there were still buyers, but at some point, that could flip on us, and we could have full time frame continuity to the downside, or these could flip right here, and we could have full time frame continuity to the upside. It is very important. Not a lot of people talk about time frame continuity. Obviously, with this strategy and the strat, we do. We talk about time frame continuity quite often, because it is a key cog in how we trade and what we use to trade. So again, if you don't know a lot about it, make sure you check out the video that I have. It's usually at the end of this video, but now that I've been going live, they don't really show up there right off the bat. So here's another one on Micron. It's a shooter candle. Would I like... This probably isn't something I would normally put on the list. So just because it does look more of like a shooter candle, I would hold it off. Not to say that the 2 down green can't push back to the upside. It's just not something that I would normally have on the list. Airbnb 2 up red. Okay, so does anybody know what these 2 pink lines are, or how we know what these 2 pink lines represent? And again, these are lines that I put on my chart. If you've been following me, you probably know. Or does anybody know what this yellow circle around the weekly represents? Weekly, yeah. Black BD says weekly. So yeah. So to elaborate on that a little bit more, the 2 pink lines are telling me that on the weekly I've got an inside bar, and as you can see, we haven't broken through that inside bar. Here was the high of last week. Here was the low of last week. Here's Monday's and Tuesday's bar. So yeah, the yellow circle also is telling me that I am still inside on the current candle. So if I go to the weekly, and you can see we have the weekly, we're currently an inside bar looking to break out. So if I go back to the daily and we are a 2 up red, here's that little pullback that I was talking about. We trended down, we have this little pullback, and I look for the trades into time frame continuity. Now we don't have the month, quarterly, or yearly, but we have the day and the week. So if we trend down, these 3 are still going to stay continuous with the red theme. So we can look for triggers at 123.07 and first targets at 122.73. Second target down here breaks us out of that inside bar. Okay, so that'll push us 2 down on the week if we can manage to hit that second target, and then we have a little bit of a swing trade there if we want it. BA with the inside bar as well. So calls at 202.37 based on time frame continuity tell us that the higher probability trade is to the upside. We have a gap to fill here as well. So calls at 202.37, first target's marked, or you can look at the puts if it trends that way at 199.32 trigger. Lululemon, again, not something I normally put on here for you guys because the premiums are high. Now, you can watch it to see what happens, but we have a double inside bar. So this blue highlight is part of the indicator I created for you. So if you go back in time, you can see the last time that we had a double inside bar on Lulu. So 2 straight days of consolidation, 2 candles that are getting tighter and tighter, an inverse broadening formation if you want to call it that. And let's just go back in time and look. They're so rare, guys. They do not happen very often. Now, like I said, the premiums are usually really high on Lulu. Here it is, double inside bar. And was it a fantastic trade? It wasn't great, but you can see we broke triggers, like it said it should do, off of the double inside bar. We hit target 1, we hit target 2, and looks like we tagged target 3 to fill the gap. Okay? It did exactly what it said it was going to do. Okay? So that's what we're looking for off of those double inside bars. Just a little bit more powerful of a setup than just a single inside bar. It essentially is a single inside bar, but we're looking for a little bit of a bigger break off of it. So calls at 312.98 if you have a bigger account, puts at 308.38. We move on to Pfizer. Again, Pfizer has been on this downward spiral. We talked about it yesterday, trending down to break through the 2 down on the year. Well, now we have a 2 down, finish green with a hammer candle. So we could look for a little pullback to the upside, and then once we get that, you can look for it again to have a downturn. Okay, so calls at 40.71 is what we'd be looking for. First target's way up high. We probably don't hit that tomorrow, but we could at 41.73. Uber Technologies. Okay, so there you guys notice those 2 pink lines again, telling us we are stuck on an inside bar. We didn't break it anytime this week, but we are 2 up red. This is a 122 rev strat. I have a video on that as well. Again, videos are all out for you guys. There's a ton of learning tool videos for you guys. So this is a 2 up, finish red, 122 rev strat. It's basically just a 2-2 reversal with a 1 bar preceding it. So we're going to look for a 2-2 reversal back to the downside. Our second target breaks us 2 down on the week. So the day triggers the week. That's what we'll be looking for on Uber on Wednesday. WFC, Wells Fargo. We can look for calls back to the upside with 47.03 triggers. Again, I'd be looking at a 47 even, 47.50 strike on this. Maybe a 48 at the most. Okay, so first target at 47.43. AMC, this one moved a little bit since the last 15 minutes before close, but we have a 2 up red on AMC, so we're going to look for puts to the downside at 7.11, and then we have our first 2 targets marked out here on AMC. BIDU, 2 up red, shooter candle, so there's our bearish setup, our bearish pattern. We can look for puts at 137.68. First target at 135.71. CCL, 2 down green. We're going to look here. We have a hammer candle. We'll look for calls back to the upside. First target I don't have marked out, but can anybody tell me where they think the first target would go on this? Black BD's the only one that's chatting away here, but we'll see if they know. So the first target, where would we place that first target on CCL? Does anybody know? So normally, guys, this is where it would go normally, okay? And yes, Smart Q, you've got it. Low of previous day. So it's 1076. So the reason is because we have this gap here, okay? So when we have that gap, the first target becomes that gap fill. And then the next target would go to the top like you see here. So yeah, you guys are right. Good stuff. Chewy, inside bar on Chewy. Sure, let's call that a hammer candle. We've got really good time frame continuity pushing to the up direction. So we can look for calls at 40.71, puts at 39.87, and then the targets are marked out for you guys. CL, 2 down green. Now we are looking at going 2 down on the week here as well. So realistically, if we trend down here, guys, and this is a doji candle, it's really hard. The open and the close were almost identical. So If we trend down, we've got full time frame continuity to the downside. So Colgate-Palmolive, it's a tough one to stake a claim on just because of that. It really could go either way. Okay, so we'll move on to the next one. We'll go to Comcast. Here's one that has a 2-down green. We can look for those calls at 37.40 and first targets at 37.57. Etsy, here's an inside bar. Same thing, that doji candle. It could go either way. If we trend down, we have full time frame continuity to the downside. So those puts are at 120.08. This blue line represents my monthly. Okay, so if I go to the monthly, that's an old month. So we'll delete that. So we won't worry about that month. We'll go back to the daily. Inside bar, let's put our target to the bottom side there. There's your first target to the bottom side. This, to the bottom side is where I would like to see Etsy go. Doesn't mean it will, no. But that's the direction I'd like to see it, with puts at $20, $120.08. Ford Motor Company, guys, I'm going to give you this one. This one will likely be part of my top 5. Part of the reason is it's got a really tight inside bar here. So we've talked about inside bars. Ford tends to perform on these inside bars. So you can see here we had this big run off of this inside bar. It was fantastic. We're going to look for the same thing to happen on Wednesday. We've got magnitude to the downside isn't great, but back to the upside it looks really good. So we can look for calls at 12.18, puts at 12.01. So Ford really, guys, moves slower than most tickers. So a lot of people don't like playing it because it's slower. I don't like slow-moving stocks, to be honest with you. That's why I love SPY so much. Because SPY, I can get in 5.5 minutes like I did yesterday, take my 17% profit, and I can go home. I don't need to stand and sit and stare at a screen the whole day. And that's part of the reason I like SPY. So Ford moves a little slower, but that just means the premium on the options don't necessarily move as fast, which may be a good thing, it may be a bad thing, depending on how long it takes to hit that target or how long you're staying in that trade for. So despite all that, Ford would be on my top 5, okay? And SPY has that shooter candle. I would put SPY in that top 5 as well, based off of that shooter candle. And it's what we call, because we're already in a downward trend on SPY, and we talked about it earlier, and I can go back at the end of the video to show you, but because we're already in that downward trend, it's what we call a MOMO shooter, momentum shooter. So GME has an inside bar as well. It's really close to a shooter candle. We can look for calls at 19.52. We are already 2 down on the week. Puts at 18.95, and I'll mark that target out for you guys like so. If you guys do have questions, feel free to ask them. I'll give you some time at the end as well to ask them. Tesla, 2 up red. We did break out of that inside bar. Yeah, so we're 2 up on the week there, and then we've retraced. So if I'm looking at this again off of the daily, we have a 2 up, finished red. I am going to look for these puts to come back down to the bottom side and hit these targets. 203.75 with the puts, and first target at 201.26. 203 would be my strike, maybe 202 as well. I wouldn't go much further than that. I don't think that was the last. Maybe it was. That was the last. If we look at SPY here, SPY has this shooter candle, and we have already gone 2 down red, or 2 up red. So this one is 2 down red. So if we continue down, we're going to call that a Momo shooter. And we're going to look for that momentum to carry on. And like I said, we're looking for puts at 396.18, and that's good magnitude down to that bottom side. Black BD saying the sound is going out. Anyways, if that's happening for anybody else, I apologize. Does anybody else have any questions? Anybody who's on right now, do you guys have questions? If you're watching this and it's after the live stream, leave your questions below in the comment section. It's less than 24 hours, guys, and I usually get back to you. And you can do the same thing on Twitter. You can DM me there or join the Discord. That link is in the description. I'll get back to you guys there as well. But does anybody have any questions about any tickers they're looking at for tomorrow? or anything to do with the strat or anything. Okay? You guys have any questions that I can answer or try and answer for you? Nothing. Well, if you guys don't have any more questions, Rodney Samuels TV says, do you always start into time frame continuity or no? When I trade, Rodney, when I take my trades, because my trades only last, call it 3 minutes to an hour. I usually don't go more than an hour. That's a long trade for me. Do you always strat into time frame continuity? I look at the hourly and the daily for sure, because my trades don't last that long. This is all I really need for confirmation for me. Now, if we have, like on SPY is showing the hourly, the daily, the weekly, the monthly. So if we're looking at the next candle, it would be a trade for me, okay? Because I've got the majority of the time frame continuity in my favor. Now, I only need the hourly and the daily, but when we have the weekly and the monthly, I call that a bonus. Okay, and what I mean by that is it's just a higher probability that trade is going to work out, because we're all trading off of probability and what that probability is. So if we have more in our favor, it's a higher probability trade. And yes, it's better to take a higher probability trade than a lower probability trade. And most traders have a tough time with that because they FOMO and they want to just jump into a trade. Now, the better you can become at restricting that and controlling your emotions and trading just what you want to trade based off of, call it time frame continuity or the setup, you're going to become a better trader. Okay, so again, for me, the way I trade, I need the hourly, daily. Anything else is a bonus. So higher probability trades are higher probability once you have more time frame into your favor. Okay. Does anybody have anything else? Okay, guys, so if nobody has anything else, I want to thank you guys for joining in with me on the live chats. I'm trying to do these every single weekday at 4 Eastern. Okay, so make sure you guys are subscribed. You're hitting that bell. That bell will give you the notifications for when we go live. Okay, or when new videos come out, or new shorts, or whatever I'm doing. It'll give you those notifications. Anybody who's still sticking around, because you've stuck around so long, how many of you are any of you guys still in the room part of the Discord? Type 1 if you're part of the Discord. And I'm going to take some names here because I'm going to do, I think, a little bit of a giveaway. There's nobody's in the Discord here from the room. Star Fox. Okay, is that you? Is it your same? What's your handle in the Discord? Is it the same? Star Fox is the only one in here that's in the Discord. I'm going to give you a free copy of the trading psychology book that I wrote. I'm doing some minor edits to get done the final draft, but I will give that book to you for free. Okay, so if your Discord. Oh, now look at everybody's coming in now. Mark Q, I'll do the same for you, man. I just need to know, do you guys have the same Discord name as your YouTube name? Or you guys just DM me on Twitter. Okay? That'll be easier. If you guys DM me on Twitter, I'll send you a free copy of that book. Okay, so Star Fox, Smart Q. Yeah. Send me a DM, either on the Discord or on Twitter, and I'll send you guys a copy of that book. So thank you guys for joining in. I'll probably do some more giveaways as these chats go on, as we do them more often. So Hungry for God, hey, what's going on, man? Or girl, whatever you are, I don't know what you... welcome. But we're at the end of the stream. You tuned in too late. But go check the replay of the video. It'll be on YouTube for you guys. Post it on Twitter. I'll post it in the Discord. You're a man. Okay. Okay, thank you guys. Good luck trading Wednesday. Is that it for the questions? Am I good for questions? We're all tidied up? If you guys do think of something, you have more questions, leave them in the comment section down below. Get a hold of me on Twitter or join the Discord and you guys can ask them there, okay? Thank you guys for joining me today. Good luck trading on Wednesday. I wish you nothing but green and nothing but the best as always. And we will see you guys all in the next one. Bye-bye.